of all the reasons why you could imagine supporting gun rights, well, I like to hunt, or I need to protect my family. Tim Pool has one that has absolutely nothing to do with the narrative that he's been pushing for quite some time in an attempt to drive his engagement and viewership. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Tim Pool.
Let me tell you why you need guns. You do not need guns for the most part, because there will come a time where you are fighting the government. No, don't. Like, that's not why you should use guns. But there may come a time where there are instances. Well, let me rephrase that. This idea of fighting tyranny, it is not the idea that a bunch of good old boys take their guns and say, we need to fight back against the government. No, that's not what it's about. In the event that, I don't know, police start actually just gunning people down and you may see civil war, okay, sure, I guess. If there can be no civil war in the event that there's a disarmed well, that's actually not true. I was going to say disarmed population means no civil war, but that's not the case. Civil war erupts when state level governmental factions actually fight with each other. So actually, I would say the opposite. Gun rights actually are more likely to prevent civil war because it makes everybody recognize who knows who's armed. If it's just the government and the government breaks with itself, you get civil war. Let me tell you the real reason for why you.
It's just like, so that's just the mutually assured destruction, nuclear proliferation argument, but for civil war. If everybody has guns, then it just makes it way more likely, makes peace more likely.
What you just said was even more rational than what he really obviously has thought this through.
Yeah, well, I mean, he actually'd himself about 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Like himself.
He covered every perspective. I mean, it's well-rounded coverage.
Well, let me rephrase that.
What's going to happen with his civil war? Government factions are going to break apart. So in other words, it's going to be a civil war
between, I guess, the government or the police and private citizens, and then also, but it would be better to have guns because everyone can assume that we all are armed.
Yeah.
So that if the assumption is we're all armed, we won't shoot each other.
Again, mutually assured destruction.
And this is going to stop a civil war because, I mean, it's just also, it's bizarre. We got to watch out for this civil war. It could happen again. I wonder in what lines he thinks the civil war is going to occur. But does he think that both sides aren't going to get some part of the incredible amount of both military and sort of so-called police military, military equipment? Where does he think all that's going to go? Oh, yeah, I'm not going to go because my neighbor could have a 22 or my neighbor could have a shotgun, as opposed to the up-armored vehicle the cops have down the road. What? It's just even his dumb, he could barely articulate or settle on a reason. And then once he did, it was completely moronic. Here he was. When was this? This is just a couple of months
February,
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With, I think that's Thomas Massey.
Oh, God.
Thrown off. They need to have sufficient power without asking for extra permission. It should be right there and completely available to them in their living room in order to affect the change.
I believe the Second Amendment protects your right to own nuclear weapons. I believe an individual citizen in this country has a right to own a nuclear warhead.
But not a delivery device?
Oh, all of it. I think.
Well, Tim, what about biological weapons?
Absolutely. All of it. All of it.
If 30 to 40.
I mean, that at least has some basis in there is at least an argument there. I think if you're going to say the right to bear arms is the right to bear arms. And if you cannot restrict which weapons, people have and what circumstances, then
it is the major contradiction in this argument that we can't regulate guns. It's we do, obviously. So you have to just say, well, we shouldn't. And you should be able to go to Walmart and buy a grenade launcher.
Exactly.
Is he still identifying as a liberal?
That's, we know what that is.
Yeah, I understand, but Just I haven't heard. I don't know. Maybe I'm not on left Twitter enough, but I haven't heard a ton from people saying everyone should own nukes.
Even like the most ultra leftists that are anti-gun control, I don't think they say that, the Communist Party should start its own nuclear program.
They have boundaries.
And
still.
also, let's be clear. I mean, here's another thing. If everybody owned nukes, or no, if everybody was allowed to own their own nukes, guess who would own nukes?
Elon Musk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just the rich people, just the super billionaires. I mean, it's just like Elon Musk is going to, that's going to be his new Twitter policy.
That's going to be his new union busting policy.
Exactly. You join a union or you try and shadow ban the wrong people, might lose the city.